Hey everyone, welcome back to South by Southwest Live. We are joined by the writer, director, and lead actor of Easy, which was a phenomenal film. Let's introduce everyone to who you guys are.
My name is Daniel Laabs, and I was the writer and director, and also I did the editing on Easy.
Mm-hmm. And
my name is Brennen Bliss, and I was the lead role Jeffrey in Easy.
So let's tell everyone that's watching just about one or two sentences. What is Easy about?
Easy is about two brothers and how, small interactions can sometimes inadvertently create really big issues for people. And it's about the 24-hour cycle in which, like, a little moment like that kind of blossoms into a very frustrating situation for Jeffrey's character.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which, I must admit, you did a phenomenal job in this movie. You don't have a whole lot of lines, but the way you acted and everything, having a brother, maybe our brother was so far apart, but when he was born, but we were close, and all of a sudden we weren't close. And the way you portrayed being close, and then all of a sudden your brother's growing up and older, you kind of feel left out, and you're dealing with all these weird issues. You did a really good job with that. I'm just going to flat out say that right now.
Do you have any siblings yourself?
I do. I have two brothers. One, he's 17, so it was kind of a relationship, even though I do get along really well with that brother. And as well, I get along really well with my 29-year-old brother.
Oh, goodness.
So, yeah.
Your parents spaced it out,
yes.
didn't they?
I know all about space. That's the way it is, me and my brother. 14 years between us.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You had a question, you had a question before I interrupted you, so I was like, let's let you go.
So I understand that a lot of this is kind of, again, he touched on a lot of it already, but coming of age issues that just really got compacted down into one day. What made you decide you wanted to do a coming of age film?
Well, I'd kind of had this idea of doing a dark coming of age story, but one of the things I was really interested in was the idea of taking the coming of age story and just kind of folding it over and having, the older brother is kind of the end, like the third act of the coming of age story in the film, and the younger brother is kind of the first act up to the beginning of the second. So you can kind of see a full coming of age story in the course of only 12 minutes.
One of the things I really like about this is most coming of age stories are very isolated. You're just looking at one person and you almost take them out of context of their family. Whereas in this case, it's very much about the two of you and family with it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make, I was really inspired about making a film about family. When I was making my last film, which played South by Southwest in 2011, and when we were making that, I was thinking about the idea of correspondence, about who you're making a film for and who you have in mind while you're making all these decisions. And for this one, I was thinking about my younger brother and my older sister, and I was just like, that was just on my mind. Like, what kind of film could I make for them that they would get something from if I made that film?
Nice.
So one of the main points of this film is about stereotyping gymnasts. Are you an actual gymnast?
I am. Well, I did gymnastics for about 8 years, and then I started drifting over to acting after I got injured, but I still have a lot of the skills, so that's why I was able to do that as well as work on the acting in the show and in the short film, and it was really fun to do gymnastics in it.
So
well, coming right after the Olympics as well, where so many of the athletes were like, well, so many of them were just accused of being gay just because, clearly you like to wear the tights, as opposed to being just athletic and this is the thing your body is good at.
And I don't think it's that at all, because I grew up watching male Olympic athletes, and I thought the strength that has to go into that, all the work. If you're looking at what they wear and their lifestyle, you're missing the big part of it, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really, one of the things we were thinking about, when the film ended up kind of moving in that direction, we realized that was a really powerful element that could be a part of the story. And that's exactly kind of what was on our mind, was just
Did you cast him because you were looking for a gymnast, or did you cast him first and oh, hey, and you happen to be a gymnast? Fantastic. Guess what?
I was working with, when I first started working with the casting director, Kelsey Coggin, who's a fantastic Austin-based casting director. She was like, do you really think we're going to find a gymnast? And I was like, well, maybe. Let's just put it on there and see what happens, because we can easily, write something else in there and find another way to go with the story. And
So he was the special snowflake you were looking for from the very beginning.
That's a really good way to put it. No, we were like, yeah, the snowflake in Texas too.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did an open call, and day one, Brennen came in, and we're like, well,
Awesome.
that was great.
So why did you decide to be an actor as opposed to being a gymnast? Is it just like, hey, I want to go be on TV or something?
Well, that was originally what it was, but then I started taking classes, and I found it was kind of what makes me smile, because I get to be with all these people I love that like to do the same thing as me and learn and get to know all these cool things about how people actually have to work. And I it's not the being on TV part that I love. It's the part that learning and being with all my friends, because there's so much to know and it never ends. So.
And the more you know. What's that little PSA? The more you know.
So you mentioned that you were injured as a gymnast and ended up getting out of it because of that. I think a lot of people don't realize how many child athletes end up actually getting injured before they hit puberty even.
Mm-hmm. It was it actually took me out for a long time. I was in a wheelchair and on crutches for a while, and I was doing some gymnastics while it happened, but it actually wasn't in a gymnastics event. It was at a friend's birthday party on a bounce house.
Oh, so you were showing off on the bouncy house.
Yes.
We've all done that. We're not going to lie.
I try not to tell that part that often because,
Welcome to being on live television.
And now the internet's going to know forever. It's going to follow you.
Oh, well.
No bouncy house for his coming out party. No.
Trying to imagine this horrible accident now.
So you got some good news recently about this film, actually.
Yesterday, right before our premiere, we announced that Fandor.com did pick up the film. So,
oh, fantastic!
We did get, we're kind of another lucky snowflake. We got distribution from actually the company that we were really hoping we'd get it from too.
Congratulations!
So, yeah.
So are you going to kind of revisit it, maybe make it into a more longer, maybe feature-length film, or are you just going to keep it as a short? Because, what happens the next day? He kind of melted down towards the end of the film.
Yeah.
Is he going to go out and be crazy and do what, like our first guest, things people do, crazy stuff?
Well, I think the movie... Well, I first wrote it as a feature. I came up with all the characters, and there's a lot of characters in the short version that got cut out. Like the dad is a much longer character, or bigger character, and even the first draft when we were doing casting, all of Brennen's scenes that he was rehearsing with all the different actors, they were all scenes with a dad, and then he ends up only having one very short scene with a dad in the film. So
the script had changed a lot, and for the better. I really did love it at the end.
Yeah.
So do you think that you're going to be going back to that longer draft or revisiting it?
Yeah, I think it's. I think there's a lot of really great material there that I'd love to turn into a film. So, hopefully someday.
Well, this is easy. You guys got picked up. I want to thank you guys for coming out. Hope you have a wonderful South by Southwest experience. Is this your guys' first time here?
Me, yes. Yes, it is.
I've been here before, but it feels. this festival changes every time you come.
It's different every year, right?
It really
Yeah,
is.
It's like it evolves into this beast. You're like, oh.
No, I'm like trying to catch up with it. It's really interesting how you have to just kind of like it's constantly changing and becoming bigger, and that's interesting. I like having to stay on my feet.
Yeah, and film especially, because film really, that's only, 5 years old now as a thing at all. And the first couple of years, that's amusing. Oh, you're going to have a couple of movies. And now it's definitely trying to compete as a world-class film festival.
Yeah, it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And we're just honored to be here.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations. Where can people stalk you online if they want to see more about the film?
If you want to see the film, you can see it at Fandor.com. And you can always follow me on Twitter, I think. Or our Facebook. We have a Facebook page, which is on the screen.
Yeah, you can see Facebook right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually follow us on Facebook.
Easy short film. So best of luck. You already made an amazing movie. It already got picked up. I can't wait to see what comes next, because we have run across each other before, and we'll see each
They're just
other
going to
again.
spend the rest of it getting, or maybe one of them's going to spend the rest of the
Maybe
festival
one
just
of them
getting
getting
drunk
drink.
and coasting on it.
He's like, I want to drink
That's
too.
not me.
One of them. So.
I'll be looking for you, Gavin.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.